welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Music, RVA, Richmond, Virginia. My name's Bill McGee, and this other guy over here is Charles Mann, and we're interviewing one of the legends of the Richmond area, Goldee Hart, and we're going to talk to him about where you came from, how you got it done, who you play with, what school did you go to, all those different, what bands did you play with, and what are you doing now, and things like that.
Tell us a little bit about your humble beginning.
I was born in Martinsville, Virginia. My uncle managed a band, and they used to let me come to the rehearsals, So, I was focused on that organ player in that band. You can't imagine at 7 years old the impact they had on me, And I was there for a couple of years. Then we moved to Richmond. There was a singing group I got with, and mostly just background singing. I must have been about 9, because I know that my first performance live, I was 11. The first gig that I ever played was back in Martinsville, booked by Jose Fox. This started there. Soul Dynamics was my first band playing behind the Bonnevilles, and the original Soul Dynamics was myself, Stanley Williams, Curtis Johnson, Rhonda Johnson, Isham May, Larry Bennett, and Willie Terry. Rhonda Johnson was replaced by Thomasine.
And what school did y'all come out of?
When I was playing with the Soul Dynamics, of course, I was just 11. Benford Middle School for 1 year. Okay. Then I went to Maymont School for 1 year. Okay. Then I went to Thompson from there.
Wow, right.
And from Thompson, I went to Maggie Walker.
Were you in the music program at any old school?
Can you believe that I was never in any music program?
Yeah, I can.
Because, I was actively playing gigs, man.
Right.
I mean, and back in the very early 70s, man, how active things were.
Very musical out there.
Very. I probably was about 12 and playing on a gig with the Soul Children at the Lucky Strike Club on Broad Street. You remember that Lucky Strike Club?
Wow, Lucky Strike. Yeah, where was it located?
On Broad Street.
But it's right up near Boulevard. Yeah, I said Boulevard. I meant Belvedere. It was a club like 1 block up, and there was another club across the street. If I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
August Moon had a club 1 block up called the Taste of Honey.
Okay.
I remember that.
And then there was another club almost directly across the street from it.
Third World was on Broad Street, right on that same corner at the very top floor, though. So, Goldee, you were playing clubs underage?
Yeah.
Yes, I was, man. My parents normally came, but when they didn't, the manager of the band, spoke for me, and his wife was normally there. With the Soul Dynamics, I performed with the Perfections Quartet, Sterling Harrison, the Metal Ass. I can't name any of the Metal Ass, and it'll take me a minute to even remember the guys in the Perfections Quartet, except Terry. That was one of the most popular singing groups. And I'd say that the Perfections was second to the Bonnevilles in popularity as far as the groups that
Who were in the Bonnevilles?
Frizzell that was with Poison.
Yeah.
He was originally with the Bonnevilles, but by the time I got with him, there were only 3 brothers in them.
Marshall Smith,
yeah.
That's Frizzell.
Yeah.
So you were doing a lot of quartet groups in the early. Yeah. This is post-Temptations, Moments, Delphonics. This is that era, Charles, where we weren't as much because we were self-contained, but Goldee is naming those groups that came out of that era. Post-Temptations, Chi-Lites, because remember now, after a while, it was hard to get a quartet group together after that.
Look, that's where we went. In 1975, that's when the Soul Dynamics pretty much became self-contained band.
Right.
And we changed our name eventually to a group. We went from Soul Dynamics, took on another management, changed our name to Sugar. And
Okay.
then
Yeah, I recall that name, Sugar.
I know.
I remember seeing the picture of Sugar. Never saw the group, but I remember because that name, that name kind of like stood out.
Yes.
Yeah, and we worked a lot with Kirby when we worked with Kirby on a few
Kirby
things.
Carmichael.
Yeah,
Right.
Kirby Carmichael.
Yeah.
And then I graduated from Sugar and went to Charisma.
All right.
I remember Charisma.
Now tell me who was in Charisma, because
I'd be glad to tell you who was in Charisma, man. That was the hottest band, man, that I had ever.
And I think that's why I do know you from Goldie, before you went to the Waller family, and before you, because Waller family came after Charisma.
Yes, because I went to Waller family after Charisma, but here's the Charisma. You remember Steve and Kevin Jennings? They were brothers from Chicago, man.
Okay.
Charles, I know you got to remember them.
I can't say that I do. I can't say that I do.
Steve Jennings brought that thumping to Richmond, man. That thumb playing bass.
Yeah, really.
Okay,
Yeah,
and so name some of the other guys.
That Brothers Johnson slapped up face. Okay.
Yeah, man, he was so popular in Richmond, and let me see. Ronnie was with them prior to
Ronnie Coates.
Yeah, Ronnie was with them when they were the Marvelous Souls.
Okay, name some of the other guys.
Okay, Bubba Ross.
Because y'all had a horn section with Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba Ross.
Trombone player.
No, Bubba Ross.
So I'm saying I want you to name the trombone player.
Oh God, Willie
Edwards.
Willie
Edwards. And Bubba Ross and Sneed.
Doug Sneed.
And Sneed. See,
Sneed was one hell of a sax player, bro.
I'm telling you right now.
Let me tell you, man.
That boy was seriously good.
Yes, he is, man. Doug, man, is one of the most talented people that he's controversial, but he is so talented.
Yes, me. Did Percy ever play with y'all?
Yeah, Percy was in a group, but at the time that I played with him,
it was
Percy
Bubba.
had left.
Okay. Because I remember Percy, and Percy and I are still in touch. But see, Charisma, I definitely remember. I remember
Ernest
chapter
Green.
7.
Ernest Green on drums.
Ernest played drums.
Ernest Green. Oh yeah.
He came in after Ronnie Coates left.
Yes.
See, Ronnie left to go with Plunky, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure what happened at that time, but
wait. Now, that was Ronnie was with Jesse and them first.
Oh, that's right. He might have gone with Starfire instead of
Starfire. Yeah,
he went to Starfire, not with Plunky. Plunky was after Starfire.
Yeah. Now, see, you had to remember. Oh, also, by the way, Joe Carter and Tom Cephas picked up Sugar. And we did a lot of work with them. Yeah,
well, that's probably where I remember seeing the picture in their office out there Chamberlain. Yeah, out on Chamberlain, right?
Yeah. That would have been in late '76 or somewhere in that area, right?
Mid-'70s.
I went full time in mid-'76.
Right, mid-'70s. So Bubba passed away, right?
Yeah, I do.
But Bubba had an awesome studio. I mean, awesome.
He was with some awesome groups down there. Did you?
But before he passed away, man, he gave me a video, pictorial view or something of his studio, man. It was on the line of Alpha Audio. I mean, it was really, really nice. Different rooms and everything. He and I had been talking sometime in December, and he wanted me to come and see his studio and everything. I'll tell you who else is down there. Mario Smith.
Marshall's brother.
Marshall's brother Mario and Bubba left with a group and ended up going to Florida. George Tandy was a keyboard player with him, organist. And all of them ended up down in Florida together doing that hotel circuit thing after, everything kind of phased out in the late 70s. And they never came back. And I talked to Mario rather frequently.
Doug and I hooked back up, man, and we did some recording. We put out a CD.
Good.
And that was in 2011.
Because Sneed's got a nephew that's out here doing music now real good. And when the name Sneed came up, I was thinking it was Doug, right? Nico, no, that's my uncle. You played my uncle.
But you're talking about his nephew, and he just left here, Bill. He's in DC now.
Okay.
He does ministry. He plays keyboards.
Yeah. I know music. Minister music. It's supposed to be a real good musician.
One of the questions that Bill and I discussed is, tell us your most memorable gig.
Well, the first one that sticks out to me is a gig at Virginia State with opening for Mother's Time.
Yeah.
And next after that was a showcase done for MCA Records. Those are the two that stand out,
You're talking about when you were with the Waller?
Yes. Okay, after the Waller family, I went to standing room only. By the way, in the interim, that's when I played with Ujima. And
the second version.
Yeah, the second version, Ujima.
Carlton's version of Ujima.
Carlton's version of Ujima, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we only did 1 or 2 gigs.
So look, Goldee, you went with standing room only, and I've been in touch with Hugo in the last couple of years because the people from France keep contacting me trying to buy standing room only stuff, and they keep telling me to convince Hugo. And I just told Hugo, I said, you go talk to these crazy people about y'all stuff. He said, man, he didn't even want to deal with it because all of you all had a lot of input in that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And not me. That they had done that. They did
the recording before you got there.
Yeah. Okay. And when I was with them, actually, Freddie Gray initially was on drums, and he was moving out, and his little brother took over.
Okay.
Ricky, yeah, man. Ricky is a tough boy,
hell of a drummer, right? He's been here playing in the studio.
I found out, man, but standing room was, I enjoy charisma, but standing room is in that league, man.
It was a different level, right?
Yeah.
Philip's a talented cat, isn't he?
Philip, oh man, extraordinary.
I was telling Charles
he
about
got an ear, man, that just blow me away, man. I used to just sit down most of the time, and by the time I come to rehearsal, well, I didn't have a lot of choice in the material, although I performed a lot of it.
Right.
But I'd come there, and Philip know everything. I said, okay, what you doing? And that was it. Right. After standing room, I started recording and putting out, focusing on solo CDs, and I put out like 3 or 4 CDs.
Okay.
And then from there,
mostly R&B stuff.
Yeah, mostly R&B stuff. And then from there, I got married, and it wasn't much I wanted to do. I helped my wife raise a daughter and grandkids from there. And then I joined a group called the No Bounds Band, and I recruited Douglas Sneed into that group.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And and I produced a single on that group. And to this day, I love that song, man.
What's the name of the song?
Blind Love.
Blind Love, okay.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of your stuff the other day. I was just skimming through your website. Most of that is your solo project, or some of those projects from the different bands?
I only did, I produced Tracy's recording.
Uh-huh.
Then I started doing a lot of CDs, and I got into the digital stuff. And some of my early stuff sucks as far as quality. I didn't get better with that until I got with No Bounds, and I recorded that band. And we put out 1 single, and we did a lot promotion behind it. Local stuff, but we were working, man. For working guys, we all...
Prior to the pandemic, were you performing, or are you planning
I was trying to get out another single on the No Bounds Band. And believe it or not, we got most of it finished. And can you believe we disbanded during that process?
I know how that goes.
So let me ask you, so you've never done the kind of solo performance thing, just yourself and your tracks or your keyboard, or
You know what? I could do that, Charles, but I don't consider myself that good. You know what I'm saying?
I'm surprised to hear that you're not performing now, because I mean, I just remember you being so extremely talented.
I can tell you why. The 4 hour a night thing, man, I can't do it. I enjoy promoting what I've done online. I spend a lot of money with ads and stuff like that. And I take my stuff and I promote it in Brazil for a month, you know. And then I got to #1 on the charts in the European charts, man.
Are you able to sell product as well?
Yeah, they can buy it from my website and download it. It's on every digital platform. But I got very, very disappointed when that group disbanded when I was trying to get that second CD out there, man. I had bought about $20,000 worth of stuff, and it's sitting in the trailer, been sitting in it for like 2 years now. You know, and you know, I don't even know what to do with it.
So, Charles, let me ask Goldie another question. So, Goldie, what do you consider yourself? A singer or a keyboard player, or both? Or just a regular old entertainer, not a regular or an entertainer versus that?
Wow, man.
That's a good question. That's a good question, Bill.
It is. For the way things have been going for me the last couple of years, Bill, I would say right now, I consider myself a promoter, a producer, promoter.
Okay.
You stood out to me as just singularly as an artist. I'm surprised you're lacking that confidence in your skill set. I mean, believe me.
Well, I don't think it's confidence, Charles. You know what happens? And I'm not putting words in Goldie's mouth, but I can tell you right now, you, I, and Goldie had an energy level back in the day that's different from that drive that you have now. Yeah, but let me say the difference, what I'm trying to say. And I think Goldie is probably as much a reflection of this as what I did. I started out with the group that became Brick when I was at Morris Brown. All right. Really? So all of us, we signed with Ray Charles' label and all that. And then when I left and came back, they reorganized, changed the name to Brick. And they called me and asked me I want to come back. And I'm
one of my favorite songs. Didn't Brick do Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody?
Yeah, Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody.
That's one of my favorites.
Down.
Yes.
Okay, well, at that time, Charles, they gave me the nickname of Showtime. All right. And I couldn't understand it except for the fact that I did know that my persona off stage and my persona on stage were two different personas. It's like you learn, Goldie, I picked this up from you and watching your stuff. You learn that when the lights go on and it's like, when the lights go on and the man says, hit it, you know, it's either you got it or you don't, baby. Either it's time to do your thing or not.
Showtime.
Now, Charles, check this out about you, though. You were always, I won't say reserved, but you were always calculated to maintain. And Goldie, I told Charles, this is what I loved about Ujima. Ujima always kept it in the boundaries. They never let it get too out of control. Parliament Funkadelic, no.
Yeah, they were out of control.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember. They were very, very.
They were they kept it, the levels, the balance, the routines. Won't nobody outdoing nobody on the routines.
Right.
There was a lot of consistency. They were all really well balanced.
Yeah.
You see, I'm well balanced. And that's what Charles and them were good for. Whereas Showtime type groups, I'd have fit better in a Parliament type than I would have fit in a Ujima type group. Because my nature was you say go and I'm gone like the Energized Bunny, you know what I'm saying? And Goldie, I picked up some of that same stuff from you and looking at your stuff, that when they said it's Showtime, Goldie came to play.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you were the prince of your day, bro. I mean, to me,
I was high energy, you know.
Yeah.
you were just loose talent to me. It was just real, just loose talent.
Yeah.
But like I like what he said, high energy.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like high energy.
I was very, very high energy, man. But
yes,
life and things.
And Bill, you're right.
Tragedies, man. Just
I know. It's stuff. Life happens. What did I say? Life got in the way. That's why I told people life got in the way. But guess what?
Real life is going on while we busy making plans.
But guess what? The three of us are still here, and we thank God for that because a lot of the people we talking about not here no more.
That's correct.
Sure,
you know that, and that's the other part about it.
And you can believe, I certainly remember Trust.
Right.
Y'all were a high point in all of our lives too. Feels good, man. It feels good just talking.
It really does. We just recently lost Carlton Ayers, and I spoke to him 1 week prior to his passing. And I'm going, Carlton was reminding me of people that, maybe I should reach out to, talk about, their skill set in Mike Harris' group. And
we were going to do Hugo Jackson and found out
Hugo Jackson, all those guys. But as Bill has discovered, when we do this, some of these folks have passed. Some of these folks are no longer able to carry the conversation. I think it's good. You mentioned Sneed tonight, and it just took me to a place. I remember at the Ep01 watching y'all play,
right?
Charisma, and that guy was just, to me, he was just phenomenal. And here's the thing: I don't think I ever told him that at that time.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And that's what more important to me right now than anything else is to mention some things and tell some people things that I should have told them at that time.
Right.
Because I remember all y'all coming up. And I should have told you these things because that's the way I felt. I felt you guys were really, really good.
This whole history thing goes back for me even more than this because I've been talking to Lonnie Liston Smith, and we're gonna pull this whole thing together over at least last 60, 70 years, Goldie. But what I was telling Charles was that in Atlanta, man, I was born in Richmond, but we moved away. We moved away from Petersburg years, but I spent my formative years in Atlanta, learning how to play music. When I came back here, I had already had a record contract and already played with guys, and I had really been influenced by Gladys Knight went to my high school, Gene Carn. A lot of the people that I were influenced by were in the big time. One of my major mentors was Marvin Gaye's music director, and the other mentor was a bass player for Stevie Wonder. So when I came here, I knew what the possibilities were musically. Because I came here almost a week or two before I turned 21. But what I did is I went down to the Mousetrap, Goldie. In the back was Stacey Henry and the Majestics. And he had Nat Nolan and Elwood Henderson and Nat Lee was playing and all these, Bobby Thomas and Stacey was on tenor. I mean, and they were a hell of a group, but they were a backup type band. They were backing up singers and doing the show and review. And then I went to the front, and there was this band called Ujima, or they might have been Brother Love. Who I don't know who they were at the time. They had a few names. It was 7 of them. They didn't have no girl in the group. It was 2 horn players. It was a keyboard player. They had 2 guitar players. One of them could sing. One of them didn't sing nothing. They had a tight drummer, and I checked them out. And these cats were singing as well as anybody on the record. I mean, they were the self-contained. Any song that was out on the radio, they would sing it and play it, and they didn't have no singers. So they were the self-contained group that I had morphed into in Atlanta. In Atlanta, I grew up backing up people playing in the horn section. Otis Red and Tyrone Davis. I was just telling Charles, I could play Knock on Wood in my sleep. All right, because that's just how many times I had to play that song. Behind every singer in the world wanted to sing "Knock on Wood." All right, and so I grew up playing all those tunes, but then Sly and the Family Stones and Kool and the Gang and Chicago and Blood, Sweat and Tears and all those, and all of a sudden, and Buddy Miles and to a degree Jimi Hendrix, but the Self-Contained Band was born in 68, 69. And I saw Sly Stone live in 69. And it changed my life.
I bet. That's what I never saw.
So I went from being a backup musician to Showtime. And, you know, okay, Showtime was born summer of 69 when I saw Sly and them. And they had the little fringe jackets on. They had the little fringe vest. And Sly had his hat, and Larry Graham had his thing. And man, they were dancing and moving, and they twirled around with the guitars and twirled around, and the horns were doing that thing. And then they boom, 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 boom. And I said, "Oh Lord, have mercy! It's a revelation. I know what I want to be in life. I want to do that." And then when I saw Ujima, I said, "Yep, there they are. That's it. Them cats right there, that's what they're doing." So when I got to Richmond, I was baptized in Stacey Henry and the Majestics, doing that old school, tight band, play anything, back up anybody, and then Ujima out front, we ain't backing up nobody. We are the show.
Yeah.
We are the show. Clement could sing. I told Charles the other day, Clement was Frankie Beverly before there was a Frankie Beverly. I told Charles right now, I never heard "You'll Never Find." No. I never heard it sung better and played better than Ujima. And Charles led that song. And I said, I ain't never heard another band play that song and do that song as well as Ujima did.
Hey, you ever remember them doing "Keep On Trucking," man? By Eddie Kendrick?
That's called Robinson Faye now, singing it. Keep on trucking, baby.
I remember being totally amazed, man. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, man.
And listen to this, Goldie. See, what I was telling Charles was about keeping it in the pocket. He and Alvin were not Showtime's flashes, spin their horn, jump up and down cats.
No.
But man, them horn parts tighter than tight. Hey Goldie, it's good to get to talk to you, man. And look,
Goldie, I tell you, you have mentioned so many people tonight that have really touched me because it just takes me back to a place which was probably the most enjoyable time of my entire life, my 20s. Working in Richmond with Ujima, Anglo-Saxon Brown, Silk, whatever name you guys remember, it's still the same of us, same group. But you have taken me back to that place, my brother. And I tell you, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for responding, and I will reach out to you again.
Yeah,
you know.
I was hoping, I could get nostalgic, man, and feel that, because sometimes you just think about it on your own.
Goldie, thank you, brother.
Hey, man, it was great talking to y'all, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you again, Goldie. Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure talking to you guys today, and we'll reach out to you all again.
This was exactly what I hoped it would be, man. It's good, such a good feeling. Thank y'all again.
All right, God bless. Take care.
You guys have a good evening.
You too.